Close your eyes. Take a slow breath in through your nose. Hold it gently for just a moment and let it go. Feel your chest drop. Feel your shoulders soften. Feel the small, persistent tensions of the day begin to loosen their hold one by one without any effort from you. You do not need to do anything right now. You do not need to think or plan or remember or solve. All of that belongs to another time, a time that has already passed or a time that has not yet arrived. Right now, in this moment, there is only your breath and the quiet and the story that is going to carry you gently, without hurry, all the way into sleep. Breathe in and out. Let yourself be still. Imagine you have been driving for a long time, a long winding road through countryside that has grown gradually wilder as the hours passed. The neat fields giving way to rough moorland, the moorland giving way to something older and more open, the sky getting bigger overhead until it takes up more of the world than the land does. The windows of the car are slightly open, and the air that comes through is different here. Heavier, saltier, carrying something in it that you recognize before you can name it. The sea. You can smell it before you see it. The road curves and dips and rises one final time, and then, there it is. Below you, far below, stretching from left to right as far as you can see in both directions, the ocean. Dark tonight, deep blue-gray in the late evening light, moving in long, slow swells that catch the last of the sun in brief, scattered flashes before it disappears. You pull over, turn off the engine, and sit for a moment in the sudden quiet, looking out at all that water. There is something that happens to the human mind when it is faced with something truly vast, something that cannot be measured or counted or fully taken in. The small thoughts, the worries, the lists, the replayed conversations, they do not disappear exactly, but they become proportionate. They find their correct size, and their correct size against the size of the ocean is very small indeed. You sit with this for a while, then you start the car again and follow the road down toward the shore. The lighthouse stands at the very edge of a rocky headland, at the point where the land simply runs out and gives way to sea. It is older than you expected, the stone dark and weathered, covered in patches of gray-green lichen that have been growing there for longer than anyone can remember. A low wall runs around the base, and inside the wall a small keeper's cottage sits with its back to the wind, its windows facing south toward calmer water. One window glows. You park on the gravel track and walk the last 100 meters on foot, your shoes crunching on loose stone, the wind coming in off the water strong enough to lean into slightly. It smells of salt and seaweed and the particular clean coldness of open ocean at night. Above you, the lighthouse beam sweeps its slow arc. Once around every few seconds, a pulse of white light that touches the water and then sweeps away and then comes back again, constant, patient, unhurried. You push open the gate in the low wall. The cottage door opens before you reach it, as though someone inside heard your footsteps on the gravel and knew you were coming. Warm light spills out across the stone path. You step inside. The room is small and low and very warm. A cast iron stove in the corner radiates heat with quiet, steady intensity. Not the dramatic heat of an open fire, but something more fundamental, more reliable. The kind of warmth that has been going all day and will go all night without needing any attention. Around the base of the stove, The floor tiles are dark with years of warmth, and the air above it shimmers very faintly. The walls are thick. Lighthouse walls always are, built to resist whatever the sea throws at them. And because of this, the sound of the wind outside is reduced to something almost peaceful. A low murmur rather than a howl. A presence rather than an intrusion. You can hear it, and it does not trouble you. It is simply there, outside, doing what wind does, while you are in here where it cannot reach. There is a chair by the window. Of course there is. It faces the sea, and from it, in daylight or on clear nights like this, you can see the water all the way to the horizon. Tonight, the moon has risen, and its light lies across the surface of the sea in a long, broken column, shifting with every swell, never quite the same shape twice. You sit in the chair. Through the glass, the lighthouse beam sweeps past, a brief brightening of the room, a second of white light on the walls and ceiling, and then it is gone. And then it comes back, and then it is gone again. This rhythm, slower than a heartbeat, but carrying the same quality of inevitability, of something that simply continues, settles over you like a blanket. On the windowsill, there is a candle. Someone has lit it recently. The flame is steady and the wax has barely melted. It throws a small warm circle of light on the stone sill and the glass of the window, and in the glass you can see its reflection, doubled, as though there are two candles burning side by side in the dark. You are warm. You are still. The sea moves outside the window, and the lighthouse beam sweeps, and the candle burns, and the wind murmurs low against the thick old walls of this cottage at the edge of everything. You look around the room more carefully now. There is a small bookshelf against one wall, the books on it old and well read, their spines cracked and faded. Tide tables going back many years, a dictionary with a broken spine, a few novels, their titles no longer legible from where you sit, a ship in a bottle on the top shelf, impossibly detailed for something made inside glass, the sails set as though it is going somewhere. On the table near the stove, a mug sits cooling. Someone was here recently, or perhaps still is, somewhere in the back rooms of this small cottage, and left it there without thinking, the way you leave a mug when you stand up for a moment and mean to come back. The thought that someone lives here is comforting, not because you need company, you do not tonight, but because it means this place is known. Someone chose this headland, this edge, this particular relationship with wind and sea and light, and decided it was enough, more than enough. Someone has sat in this chair, perhaps many times, in many kinds of weather, and watched the same beam sweep the same water, and listened to the same sound of the sea against the same rocks. You are not the first. You will not be the last. There is something very settling about that. On the windowsill, beside the candle, there is a small, smooth stone, the kind you find on beaches, worn perfectly oval by years of water and movement. Someone picked it up and brought it here and set it on the sill, and there it has stayed. It catches the candlelight on one side, leaving the other in shadow, its surface polished by the sea to something almost like silk. You reach out and pick it up. It is cool and solid and exactly the right weight for a hand. You turn it over once, feeling the smoothness, the perfect weightlessness of something that has been shaped by a force far larger and more patient than anything human. And then you set it back on the sill where it belongs. Outside the window, the sea continues. The moon is higher now than when you arrived. It has cleared the clouds that were sitting on the horizon and risen into a cleaner part of the sky. And its light on the water has changed as a result. From the narrow, broken column you saw earlier to something wider and more diffuse, a broad silver road that stretches from the rocks below the headland all the way out to where the sea meets the sky. You could follow it if you wanted to. If you stepped out onto that road of light and simply walked, not across the water, which no one can do, but through the dream logic of a night like this, where such things feel briefly possible. You could walk all the way out to the horizon, all the way to where the light meets the dark and becomes something else entirely, something that has no name because no one has ever reached it. You stay in the chair. The thought was enough. That is often how it is with beautiful things. You do not need to have them, only to see them, only to know they are there. The moon road on the water does not need you on it. It is enough that it exists tonight, that you can see it, that somewhere out beyond the edge of what you can see it continues, unobserved, across the open sea. The lighthouse beam sweeps across it once, and it disappears for a second, and then it is back, unchanged, as though the light had never touched it. Your hands are resting in your lap. They are very still. You became aware of them a moment ago and noticed how still they were. Not the stillness of tension or effort, but the stillness of something completely at rest. Something that has let go of everything it was holding without being asked. Let your whole body be like your hands, still, open, at rest. The sea breathes outside the window. The stove ticks quietly in its corner. The candle flame stands perfectly upright in the still air of the room, burning without urgency, without effort, exactly as it has been since someone lit it earlier tonight. Let your attention rest on the sound. It is always there, underneath everything else, underneath the low voice of the wind and the occasional creak of the cottage settling and the quiet tick of the stove. The sea. Its sound is not one sound, but many, layered over each other in a way that is endlessly variable and yet somehow always the same. The long, low approach of a swell from far out. The building rush as it nears the rocks below the headland. The crash, not violent from here, just substantial, a sound with real weight to it, and then the long, hissing withdrawal as the water pulls back across the stones. And then silence for a moment, a held breath, and then the next swell already on its way, over and over, without end. This is one of the oldest sounds in the world. It was here before the lighthouse, before anyone built anything on this headland, before anyone came here at all. It will be here long after everything human has gone. In the context of that sound, that ancient, indifferent, beautiful sound, tonight's worries are nothing. Tonight's tiredness is nothing. Tonight's you is nothing, in the best possible sense. Simply here, simply breathing, simply one small warm thing inside thick stone walls at the edge of a very large sea. Your breath has found the rhythm of it without you noticing. In with the approach of the swell, out with the withdrawal, slow, even, natural. Your body knows this rhythm the way it knows all rhythms. In the part of you that is older than thought, older than language, the part that was shaped by exactly this, by water and wind and the long dark and the slow turning of the world. Let it breathe you. You do not have to do anything. Something has shifted. You are not sure when it happened. Somewhere between watching the moon road and listening to the sea, but something has released. Some final tension, some last held thing, some small stubborn grip that has been there all day without your fully knowing it. It is gone now. You breathe in, slowly, very slowly, and out again. And the out-breath is longer than the in-breath, the way it always is when the body is truly relaxed, when it has decided on its own that sleep is close, and it is going to lean toward it rather than away. The room is very quiet. The sea sound is still there, but it has become something you are inside rather than something you are listening to. The way music becomes part of the room it is playing in rather than separate from it. You are inside the sound of the sea. It is all around you, underneath you, patient and constant and completely without expectation. Let your eyes close the rest of the way. Not all at once, gently, the way the light fades at the end of the day, gradually, until the difference between open and closed is so small that it no longer matters. The last thing you see before your eyes close completely is the lighthouse beam sweeping past the window. A brief wash of white light across the ceiling, gone in an instant, and then the warm amber of the candle and the silver of the moonlight on the water, and then nothing but the soft dark behind your eyelids, which is warm and close and exactly right. Sleep now. The lighthouse beam sweeps, once and again and again. Each time it passes, you can see very briefly the surface of the sea, the texture of it, the movement, the way the light catches the tops of the small waves and turns them silver for just a second before everything goes dark again and the darkness seems deeper than before and warmer. There is something about a lighthouse that is fundamentally reassuring. It says, someone is paying attention. Someone has been here, at this edge, keeping watch for a very long time. The ships out there in the dark, if there are ships, know where the rocks are because of this light. The light tells them, here is the danger, here is the edge, here is where the land ends and the deep begins. Go around, you are seen, you are guided, you will be all right. You think about this, about being seen, about the particular comfort of knowing that somewhere, something is watching over the dark with patience and without judgment, simply sending its light out into the night over and over again, regardless of whether anyone is there to receive it. The candle on the windowsill has burned down a little. The wax has pooled and a thin rivulet has run down one side and hardened there, pale and smooth. The flame is the same, small and perfectly upright in the still air of the cottage, casting its small warm circle that has not moved. Outside, the moon has risen higher. Its path on the water is longer now, reaching further towards you, the light shifting and fracturing with every movement of the sea. It is not still. It never stops moving, but it is always there, and it is always beautiful. And it asks nothing of you except to look at it for a moment before you close your eyes. Your eyes are very heavy now. The sea is still there. You can hear it, constant and unhurried, doing what it has always done. The stove is warm. The lighthouse beam sweeps its patient arc. The wind murmurs at the walls. The candle burns. And you are here, in this chair, in this cottage, at this edge where the land ends and the ocean begins. And you have arrived at your own edge too. The edge between waking and sleeping, the threshold that your body has been moving toward all evening without you quite realizing it. You are there now, right at the edge. Let yourself go over, not falling, simply stepping forward, The way you step into water that is exactly the right temperature. The way you step from bright sunlight into cool shade on a hot day. Something that the body knows how to do and does with relief and recognition. The sea carries you. Its sound is underneath you now, all around you, the most fundamental lullaby in the world, older than any song, older than any language, the sound the world made before anything else existed on it. Let it take you. Let the lighthouse keep its watch while you rest. Let the candle burn down slowly in its own time. Let the wind do what the wind does, outside the thick walls that were built exactly for this, to keep the outside out and the warmth in, and the people inside safe and still and resting. You are at the edge of the sea. You're at the edge of sleep. And the distance between those two edges is no distance at all. Sleep now. The light will still be here when you wake. Good night.